YouTube fam, Never Torpid fam, what's up? It's Torpid here, bringing you another guide thanks to a good friend of mine, multi-rank 1, 3500 XP, and most importantly, a good dude who's always helping people out in his stream, Rev. Rev's here to take us through everything we need to know about Havoc Demon Hunter and how he's finding success to play at the highest of all the brackets currently in Dragonflight. I just want to give a huge shout out to everybody watching the videos. Your support has been insane in the comments and the likes. And if you like this video, please let me know in the description below. Like the video, share it. I'm trying to create content on YouTube that's helpful for you guys. Truly, truly helpful. So I'm going to leave it short. Huge shout out to Rev. All his information is going to be linked below, and you're going to see just why you should stop by his stream throughout the video. As always, if you want to keep it never torpid, which is never lazy, never lethargic, in the game and out of the game, you got to want it for yourself. And then once you want it for yourself, you got to want it for others and take care of others. And one last thing, Bella was napping throughout this entire guide, but she wants you to sub to the channel, so please don't let us down. Let's get into it. Alright guys, so REVZXY's current main is Mama's Boy, Unchained Gladiator, and in this WoW Armory page, you're going to find everything you need to know to make sure your DH is geared with everything needed. So let me take you through it. The first thing you can see is Rev has 55% Mastery. Mastery increases your chaos damage done, and you're searching for it. The majority, or I should say a lot of DH's abilities are chaos, so this is just flat dam increase. His enchants are going to be found here. You can see Regenerative Leech, Walking Stats. They're all labeled perfectly on the WoW Armory, as well as the pieces of gear he's crafted and the pieces of gear where he's sacrificing eye level for some Drake Breaker pieces like these wrists to get the mastery. The next thing is the tier, guys. So the tier set, you're going to be getting all of the tier pieces but the legs. And if I scroll over this, we can see the tier, and you can see that the 4 set is Chaos Strike and Blade Dance have a 20% chance to increase the damage you deal by 8%, and Chaos Strike and Blade Dance critical strikes increase this damage to 40%. So in simple terms, with the rotation we're going to show you later in the video, the 4 set damage you're going to get is worth having the tier set. So strive to get your 4 set, keep your Conquest piece, your legs, and try to craft and get the same gear as REVZXY and the same enchants, and you'll be putting yourself in the place to succeed like the rank 1 REVZXY himself. Alright, I'm going to take you through the basics, very basics of DH. If you've never played the class before, I think this will be great for you to get a little bit of the groundwork of DH before everything else being thrown at you. So first off, I want to talk about how Demon Hunters are a Fury generation-based class. What that means is at the top left of my screen, there's 0 out of 100 Fury. And I'm going to walk you through the abilities right here that generate Fury, and the abilities right here that spend Fury, and then a couple other abilities on the side. So first up, we have 4 abilities that are going to generate our Fury bar. The first one is going to be called Sigil of Flame, and it's going to place a sigil underneath the training dummy, and you're going to see there our Fury bar goes up by 30. After that, there's one called Immolation Aura. It's going to put an aura around us after it does instant damage. It's going to be radiating damage over time and generating 80 Fury over 12 seconds. And then we have Fellblade, which is going to charge to the training dummy and do damage as well as generate 40 Fury. And then with the training dummy, I can't show you, but we're going to be able to consume magic, which is going to purge an enemy, and when successfully purged, you're going to grant the 20 Fury. Then on the right side of those abilities here, we have our spenders. So the first one's going to be Throw Glaive, and I'm going to get to how all of these work together in the build later, but I just want you to see them, just get somewhere safe to start. So you can throw Glaive to spend your Fury. You have Eye Beam, which is going to make you do this really cool, you turn into a demon and so does your friend. Then you have Death Sweep, or when I'm out of demon form, it'll be called Blade Dance, because the abilities do change depending on if you're in your metamorphosis or your form, and they have different names, and they just does bigger damage in the meta. Then we have Blade Dance, which is going to spend our Fury, and then we have Chaos Strike, which is spammable. It doesn't have a cooldown like these 3 to help spend our Fury, and then we have a Fell Eruption, which is our stun. So we're able to stun them. You can see at the top, this is how I track my stuns. So these 4 abilities will generate Fury with the effects that you've just seen, and you'll be able to read these. And these abilities are going to spend them. This is the only one that's off cooldown, Chaos Strike. The other ones have cooldowns and spend your Fury. Outside of that, we have 3 abilities here that don't generate or cost any Fury, so you can use them at any time. The first one is Fell Rush, which is going to rush forward and do damage. And again, these are going to synergize with abilities. We'll get to that. The next one is Essence Break. So you can give yourself Essence Break to do damage to them, and then your next Blade Dance is going to do big damage. So Essence Break is going to be a really big part of the kit. We're going to get to that later. And then you have everybody's favorite, the Hunt. Doesn't generate or cost any Fury, but we'll go ahead, slap it on there, and you're going to see the Hunt in action. It's a big damage ability. And then outside of that, you're going to have 2 defensives. So if I go over here to the Boulder Fist, the first defensive is called Darkness, and you're going to put it on the ground as a 3-minute cooldown. And now every swing on me has a 20% chance for him to miss. And then the other ability is called Blur, and it's going to go around us. And you'll see at the top right, our dodge chance gets increased, and our damage reduction is reduced by 20%. So these are your... Oh, that one's not working so hot. These are your 2 defensives. And then our biggest cooldown is called Metamorphosis. And what it does is it transforms us on command into a demon for 20-something seconds there. And all our abilities are enhanced. I'll read it for you. Upon landing, you are transformed into a hellish demon for 24 seconds, greatly empowering your Chaos Strike, Blade Dance, gaining 20% haste and 10% leech. So your abilities get buffed, as well as you get haste and extra leech. So that's your big cooldown. So outside of that, the other thing that's unique to Demon Hunters is they're the only class in the game that has a chance to see other stealth classes. So Spectral Sight right here. Now, I don't have an example for you yet, but later in the video I will. But when you press Spectral Sight, you'll see your guy crouches and everything gets highlighted red. And you'd be able to see a rogue invisible, any class shadow melded, any feral druid with Spectral Sight. Okay, that's unique to the Demon Hunter class, as well as the ability to double jump and then glide anywhere you go. So really quickly, you have your Fury generators, your Fury spenders, some of your abilities that are off the generation and spending, your 2 main defensives, your main offensive CD, and your Spectral Sight. There are a couple other abilities for DH, but you guys are going to be able to read those and incorporate those. I just wanted you to have a strong foundation to get started, so let's get started. Alright, so you can see my auto attacks have spawned the demon. Now the demon has its own health pool, but when I throw the glaive at the demon, it's going to do lethal damage and it's going to grant 2 effects. So for the sake of the video, I'm going to hit him and walk away from the demon. But you can see he spawned a green orb right here. And when I walk towards this green orb, it's going to go onto my character and it's going to grant me increased damage. So the talent that we're selecting is called Fodder to the Flame. And basically, as I just shown you, your damaging abilities have a chance to call forth a condemned demon for 25 seconds. And then when you throw Glaive to do lethal damage, it does damage to everybody around. It also heals you. And then like I showed you, you have to pick up the buff. Okay, so a lot of people are spawning the demon and killing it. But while they're kiting in battle, they leave the green orb and forget to pick it up. Or a lot of people kill the demon when they're at full health. So it's actually optimal to, when you know you're safe, kill the demon right away, get that damage bonus. But if you think that if you're in a skirmish, a 1v1, if you're in a 2v2, you can actually make sure that you take a little bit of damage first and then proc the demon to get the healing, okay? I just wanted to add that in there. A lot of people walking away from those green orbs, make sure you pick them up for that increased damage. All right, these are the talents we're going to be talking about in today's video. There's an import string link below, and really quickly, if you didn't know this, Blizzard added a way to get people's talents without alt-tabbing between screens. You're going to go to the description below. It's going to say REVZXY import string, and then you're going to come to the bottom left of your talent tree, and you're going to hit import, and then you're going to paste the import text here. It's going to look something like this. You're going to name it REVZXY, and you're going to click import. And as soon as you click import, it's going to load up everything I'm about to talk about so you can follow along perfectly with minimal time. Get that done, and let's get into it. All right, guys. I just showed you how to do the big damage. Now let me break it down in Torpid terms really quickly. Look. Bella's come to join us. She's taking a nap. However, we are fired up and not taking a nap and going to make sure you understand the DH rotation, so listen up. The first thing that we're trying to replicate here is when the RBG doors open, when the arena doors open, when our favorite solo shuffle doors open, you want to be running at your opponent, right? And now when you're running at the opponent, you're going to see my fury is going to go down to 0 because we're going to be starting with 0 fury, okay? So the reason we're using Sigil of Flame first is actually to generate fury, not so much the damage, although the damage is great, don't get me wrong. So pretend I'm at 0 fury and I'm running in. I'm going to Sigil to generate my 30 fury, and then I'm going to throw Glaive. Now, throw Glaive is mega important, and here's why. We're going to be running a build that runs Soul Rend, and Soul Rend is going to do 120% of the damage of our throw Glaive over 6 seconds as chaos damage, and then we're going to pair that with Chaotic Imprint, which is going to be a 10% flat damage boost to our chaos abilities, and a lot of our DH abilities are chaos, and I really think this is cool. If you didn't know this, chaos is all of the schools of magic in one, thanks to any means necessary here. So what it reads is Mastery Demonic Presence now also causes your arcane, fire, frost, nature, and shadow damage to be dealt as chaos. So this talent reads, it's going to put a School of Magic debuff on them, but with this talent, it doesn't matter what school of magic it is, it's going to be dealt as chaos. So it's going to allow us to do big damage, and this is a mandatory talent here. So on top of Throw Glaive doing its own damage, cleaving the enemy down, it's also going to open up Burning Wound. And when we open up the Burning Wound on the target, it's going to make our Immolation Aura do 40% more damage. And it can be applied to 3 targets because our Glaive's going to cleave. So we throw Glaive and then we activate Immolation Aura. And we'll be standing on our target. With Growing Inferno, every time our Immolation Aura ticks, it does 10% more damage. 10% more damage. So you guys are going to be surprised that at the end of the game, between Throw Glaive and Immo Aura, those are going to be really high up on your damage breakdown because they start to add up with this build and with the amplifiers that REVZXY's put together for you. Another thing he wanted me to make sure is never have 2 stacks of this. Want a basic rule to follow? Never have 2 stacks. If it hits 2, throw the Glaive out there. If it hits 2, throw the Glaive out there. After we sort of get our prep work in here and we get our Sigil down, throw the Glaive, Immo Aura, charge to the enemy. Read here, we're going to have our Fell Eruption, which is our stun. But before I show you the stun here, I want to show you I-Beam. Now, watch closely. As I I-Beam, I summon a demon who does an I-Beam with me, and then I turn into the demon form for 6 seconds after. So thanks to Demonic here, we're going to get 6 seconds after I-Beam to be in our demon form to do max damage. And really quickly, thanks to the Collective Anguish, we summon a demon who does damage with us and also heals us during our I-Beams. So why is this important? Because when you're in demon form, you only have 6 seconds and you need to make those 6 seconds count, and that's why you're always going to be mixing in your Essence Break, because your Essence Break is going to make your Blade Dance smack, and when you go demon form, it turns your Blade Dance into a Death Sweep to make it hit even harder. And then we're going to Fell Rush, and when we Fell Rush, it's going to give us Momentum, which is an 8% damage buff right here. So let me just break that down again slowly. We're going to Stun, then I-Beam the target, and then Essence Break, and now our Blade Dance is reading Death Sweep. We're going to crank with a Death Sweep. We're going to Fell Rush to gain the Momentum buff, and then we're going to Hunt the target. Hunt's maybe the funnest ability in the game. And then if we get the demon proc, great, we kill him. Make sure we pick up our green orb. Always get the best demon procs during the guide. And that's how you're going to do max damage. So that's how these all synergize together, okay? They'll have certain talents that amplify them. And if you're following this rule, this is what you're going to be doing to the side as a filler. You're going to consume magic, and when you purge an enemy, you're going to generate fury. So consume magic is an extremely strong outside of this rotation. And then Chaos Strike is extremely a filler. If you find yourself Chaos Striking a lot, you're doing something wrong. REVZXY said this is just a filler in between all of your other abilities when you're doing CC and doing your damage. And then, of course, Metamorphosis, guys. You're going to throw this up for max damage, turn yourself into the demon. When you're in the demon, again, some of your abilities are going to hit harder. You're going to get extra haste and leech, but it's pretty straightforward. That's why I'm not covering it. What I wanted you guys to do is understand this and not just Torpid tells me what to press, so I press it. Now you know the power of generating Fury with Sigil. The damage you're going to see from Throw Glaive and Immo Aura, you're always going to have Immo Aura up anytime you can press it. And then you're going to go into those eye beams, keeping in the demon form for the Essence Break, to the big blade dances, into the Fel Rush, and hunting your opponent when it is up. So I hope you guys have an absolute blast with this build. It's absolutely been crushing for me. You probably, like, I don't even have to say it. You guys see the DHs all over the bracket. There's a reason. Follow this build, follow this order, and then mix it in whatever you like and go from there. But make sure you start here, get comfortable, and then I always say this is a core for you guys. From here, really put your own spin on it. So I asked REVZXY if there's any little tweaks he makes to this build. Firstly, he said that he uses this build for Solo Shuffle, Arena, and RBGs. And the little tweaks that he makes are, if there's a Mortal Strike on your team, you don't need to run Mortal Strike. Instead, he would take Chaotic Transformation. And what Chaotic Transformation does is, when you use your 3-minute Metamorphosis, it resets your Eye Beam and your Blade Dance. So what it looks like is you can use Eye Beam and Blade Dance, pop your 3-minute Metamorphosis, and go instantly into another Eye Beam and Blade Dance for a big burst. He also said that this is a larger skill gap, so once you're comfortable on DH, but into a lot of comps, he actually doesn't run Nether Walk, and he'll take Chaotic Transformation instead. So you can either take off your Mortal Dance, your Nether Walk for Chaotic Transformation. However, he did recommend, if anything, start with the Mortal Dance, because having Nether Walk, a big CD to save you when Darkness and Blur isn't enough, is extremely strong. Okay, so going through the PvP talents, something really cool that Rev said is, Rev thinks that of all of the classes, DH might possibly have the most intricate talents that can be changed with almost every different scenario. So that's a little overwhelming. If you want to see all the different uses of the PvP talents, go to Rev's stream. It's linked all over the video, and he'll show you the matchups live when he's playing the games of where he uses the abilities, but there's too many to get into, so this is what he wanted you to know. You're running Glimpse because it's going to provide immunity to loss of control effects, and one really cool tip is when you get disarmed as a DH, you Vengeful Retreat, and Glimpse will take the disarm off your character. So it's insane into melee, and also a little bit of a high tier play, but you're going to be looking to glimpse enemy CC. You'll start to get better at the game, and you'll start to know when a kidney's coming. You can glimpse a lot of these CC versus the melee. You're going to run reverse magic during almost any game. We recommend doing this because you're going to be facing roots. You're going to be facing polymorphs, hammer of justices. What reverse magic does is when you walk near the person with the debuff, you can dispel it. So if your healer is in a polymorph, you can quickly dash over to him, reverse magic, and it takes the polymorph off him. If a priest puts a mind games on you, you can reverse it back to the priest. And then we talked about this one a couple times. Chaotic Imprint is basically it is a 10% damage amplifier to your chaos abilities. The other ability that you could swap out for either a reverse magic, a chaotic imprint, or a glimpse, depending on your playstyle, you would be adding in detainment. Now, detainment's going to make your imprison basically like a cyclone. If you don't know what a cyclone is, what it does is it makes them immune to all CC from your team and the enemy team. And where this is valuable is versus big cooldowns, Ret Wings, Warriors cooldowns, big obvious cooldowns that are coming at you. You're going to use this to peel the DPS and kite away. So when I put Babs into the imprison, I can't hit him. I can't do any damage to him. He can't do anything. Nobody can help him. So start with those 4. Build the rest in as you want. And again, if you want to hear about the rest of the PvP talents, make sure to go to Rev's stream. Go ahead and ask him. He's here to help, guys. All right, so I showed you earlier how to get off your big damage. That was using I-Beam to transform into the demon and then pairing that with Essence Break into a Death Sweep. Here's where you can separate your game from the other DHs, because as you get to a higher level, people are going to be looking to kick I-beam. And when they kick I-beam, you're going to be chaos locked and not be able to specifically pair the I-beam with the essence break with the death sweep afterwards. So let me get some fury. Watch when I-beam Babs here. He's going to kick me. Instantly, I'm chaos locked and I can't cast essence break. Now, I didn't know about this and you might not know about this, but the players at the higher tier are going to know this and it's going to slow your damage down. So I'm going to take you through what Revs taught me, which I'm going to teach you on how to get around this when you know your opponent can kick your I-beam. All right, guys, so luckily Rev's here to show you what to do and how to separate your DH game from the other DHs when you know that they're catching on and kicking your I-beams, or when you know in general you're susceptible to being kicked, okay? So what you're going to do is create a stop casting macro. So you're going to type /macro on your keyboard, and it's going to open up my macros, and it's as simple as putting stop casting. Now, I'm going to show you later on in the macros how you can take this a step further, but for now, we have a stop casting macro. That's what you need to understand. When I cast I-beam, right after, I'm going to click my stop casting macro, and the enemy is going to kick into air, and then you're going to see I won't be chaos locked and be able to get my rotation off. So I'm going to go ahead and build some fury onto Babs here. And once I've built some fury, I'm going to I-beam, stop casting it, essence break into the blade dance, and you can see here that when done extremely fast, even though Babs can hear me, right here is my Omni CD add-on that tracks his kick, and it went on cooldown, allowing me to get my burst off, okay? So luckily, Rev has her back. Start practicing that. You can start incorporating a stop casting macro into a lot of different classes and different abilities to take your game to another level. Okay, so the next bit of secret tech I want to show you is a lot of the times you cast your big damn hunt and it gets blinded just like this. Read as I'm going to the rogue. He's spamming blind. It's extremely easy to intercept and to CC one of your biggest damage buttons as well as one of your most fun abilities in the game. I'm going to show you a little trick so that this doesn't happen to you. All right, so now I'm going to show you how to get your hunt off 100% of the time. But what I'm going to tell you first is you don't always want to do this. It is situational. When you use Vengeful Retreat and you pair it with the PvP talent Glimpse, you're immune to CC when you Vengeful Retreat. And if you double jump into a Vengeful Retreat, your hunt cast will go off and it'll maintain this debuff the entire way, making you immune to CC on your way to slaughter somebody with the hunt. However, it does then leave you open because you won't have Glimpse to save your life later. So there is a trade-off. And a little tidbit is when we Vengeful Retreat, we get the 8% damage from momentum. So you just saw that Babs is spamming blind. I'm going to double jump, Vengeful Retreat, and quickly hunt. And you're going to see that Babs is blind. This time around does not work. So double jump, Vengeful Retreat, quickly press hunt. And you'll see right there, if you looked closely enough, you would have seen that he pressed it. You'll just have to trust us. Babs is spamming his blind button, but because I double jump and then Vengeful Retreat, I have enough time in the air to cast my hunt and get to Babs 100% of the time. This is extremely helpful in RBGs and situational, but still strong in other circumstances in the arena and in the solo shuffle. So I hope you guys have a lot of fun with this. I love getting my hunts off, but keep it in mind, there's a little bit of a trade-off. So this is insanely important for RBGs, but can still be valuable in arena or in other scenarios that you might run into. Finding invisibility classes with Demon Hunter eyes and actually seeing them. So the reason I'm making a section as this is because there's two options in game that can amplify your ability to see stealthies. The first one is going into your options. You're going to go to graphics and you're going to make sure your outline mode is set to high. The second one is located under interface, and you're going to make sure your outline mode here is set to quest objectives, mouse over, and target. Because in battleground enemies, you're going to be able to click their battleground nameplate, and that's going to select them. And then what you're going to see is somewhere here, there's a rogue, and it's going to become very obvious to you as soon as I press my Demon Hunter Spectral Sight to see him. So watch this. When I Spectral Sight, look how easy it is to see the rogue, even though he's hiding behind something, right? You can see Babs moving back and forth for us, and you can see here with the right settings just how easy it is to spot them. And with those two settings, you'll be able to keep up with every DH. There he is coming out of stealth, because that's how you're able to see them. Okay, so this macro uses the stop casting macro that you've seen earlier in the video. Again, it's simply just typing /stop casting and dragging it down to your action bar. And what it's going to do is stop casting. However, the hunt has a lot of unique head games you can play with this, because you can see here that the hunt is such a unique ability. Like when you hunt read here, people know that the hunt is coming. And so the purpose of the stop casting macro is because you can fake somebody out and actually get their abilities. So you see right there, Babs popped evasion because I hunted. And because I have a stop casting macro, I'm able to dodge it. You can see here he cloaks and stealths, and you're able to stop your hunt, okay? So all I'm doing is pressing the hunt and then pressing my stop casting macro, and you have the entire bar to stop it from casting. It's extremely fun and a lot stronger than you think, especially on your way up and even at higher games, right? At lower games, they don't know you can stop canceling your hunt, so they press cooldowns. At higher games, they think you're going to hunt and they respect the damage, so they press cooldowns. So there's a lot of value in casting your hunt, seeing what the enemy does, and either letting your hunt get off or using your stop casting macro to stop it and using it at a better time. Okay, so for this macro, what we're going to do is when you normally metamorphosis, you click it once and then it has a green circle and you click it twice. But with this macro, what you're going to do is put /cast at cursor metamorphosis. This will be in the description below so you can copy it. And it's right here. I haven't called it meta, but I'm going to press my mouse to show you. I'm going to put my mouse right onto Babs and I'm going to press this keybind. And you're going to see that without the green circle's second click, I jump straight to Babs. So this keybind is going to allow you to just point and click where you want your meta to go. This macro, sorry. It's actually a lot of fun and saves you a lot of trouble, because sometimes I go to put the green thing down and then they move and then it's too late, where this just makes you all in and you jump straight to them. They probably should have this in general. The only reason the green circle is helpful is to know your range, but you'll get used to it quick and you'll have a lot of fun with this macro. Okay, insane. We got the demon proc. So with this macro, it's a mouse over. Typically what you'll do is click on the infernal, throw a glaive, then click back to your target. But with this mouse over, I mouse over the infernal, and I have this button down here on my action bars, but I'm going to press this macro, and it's going to go ahead and throw the glaive without untargeting Babs. And then what I want to show you guys is when I get out of combat, okay, and it's just me and Babs out of combat, when I press my macro, it doesn't do anything over Babs, okay? So Rev's designed this macro for you and gotten you the one that works just when the demon's up, so you're not going to be misclicking it. Once the demon spawns, you mouse over to kill it. I'm loving it. I think you can't play without it, so make sure you at least give it a shot, guys. Okay, guys, I'm going to take you through an old clip. This is from Shadowlands. However, if it's old and it works, you don't need to fix it. So what you're about to see still works in Dragonflight. With the Glimpse PvP talent, I talked earlier about how you can glimpse disarms. So let's show you. What's going to happen here is Rev's going to get disarmed, and it's going to happen so fast that I'm just going to keep pausing it until it works right here. So you can see right here, the warrior disarms Rev. He uses Vengeful Retreat, the Demon Hunter button, paired with the PvP talent Glimpse, and watch this disarm vanishes off instantly. See, he's disarmed. Instantly, he Vengeful Retreats at the top right. You can see the debuff, and it takes the disarm off. This is extremely strong into all melee comps. It's basically like they disarm you, Vengeful Retreat, continue on. Okay, guys, here is some footage of Rev glimpsing a DK grip. So again, still something you can do today. Rev right here on the left is going to go into grip range on purpose, and when he gets gripped here by the DK, he's actually going to glimpse the grip, and then the DK ends up using Asphyxiate to stun him. So you see he gets stunned and strangled in the air, some Star Wars shit. But if he didn't get stunned, he would have been able to come back and the DK's grip would have been on cooldown. That's the strength of Glimpse. You can use it in a lot of different situations to get out of some tricky things. Once you start applying it, you're going to find those situations. And you can see right there as Priest grips him back down and they continue the waiting game.